Welcome to the Faroe Islands, a small independent territory of Denmark located in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean, a place with cliff drops into the endless sea and the most jaw-dropping unspoiled scenery I've ever witnessed.
Hi everyone, I'm in the Faroe Islands right now. I've had the chance to explore these islands for the last couple of days and I want to show you around. In this video, I'll be sharing my 8-day travel itinerary, tell you some interesting facts about the islands, and show you some amazing views they have to offer. I hope you enjoy.
Before I share my itinerary, I'll tell you some general facts about the Faroe Islands. You can get to the islands by ferry from Denmark, which takes 36 hours, or by airplane, which takes 2 hours and 15 minutes from Copenhagen, and there are daily flights. Driving across the islands is quite an experience. There are small, usually one-lane roads connecting the islands, weaving through the mountains and fjords. The Faroe Islands are home to the only underwater roundabout in the world, and it is located between the two main islands, Eysturoy and Streymoy. Although these underwater tunnels are quite expensive. You pay 100 Danish krona each time you enter the tunnel, which is around €12.50. The speed limit inside the villages and towns is 60 kilometers per hour, and outside it's 80. There's never too much traffic, so you can get around quite fast, and there are also no speeding cameras, except in the capital Tórshavn. Another interesting fact is that on the 18 islands, there are only 9 traffic lights, 8 of them being, again, in Tórshavn. Have you ever wanted to drive over the Atlantic Ocean? Well, here it's possible. The Faroe Islands have the only bridge over the ocean, located between the two main islands, Streymoy and Eysturoy. I highly recommend renting a car, since it is the easiest way to explore the islands, and you're not dependent on the buses here. The name Faroe Islands comes from the Old Norse language and means sheep islands, which makes sense since there are 70,000 sheep and only 55,000 people living here. It is also referred to as the land between sea and sky due to them having the highest promontory in the world, a 754-meter vertical cliff drop into the ocean. The main industry on the islands is salmon farming, which started in the 1960s, and fishing, which has been going on for centuries. Grass-covered roofs are a norm here on the islands, since they isolated and weatherproofed the wooden roofs ages ago, and it's become tradition. You can see this type of roof in every village here. In winter, it doesn't get too cold, since you're always within 5 kilometers of the ocean, and you get around 300 rainy days a year. Although it rained every day we were here, the weather changes within minutes, and most of the time it was a bit cloudy and sunny. Okay, let's get started with the itinerary. The first day we landed at the Vagar airport and headed straight for a hike next to it, to the Dungesdrangar cliffs. After walking up this river for about an hour for 3 kilometers, then you get to the cliffs. The hike is not too difficult, and the view is worth it if the weather is nice. We weren't that lucky, but I still do recommend doing this hike. After the hike, we headed to the main island, where we visited a nice little remote village with its famous little church, the Saxum Church. On our way weaving through the fjord, we also saw this little waterfall. Day 2 was our longest day by far. After breakfast, we headed straight towards Gjöguf, where we visited this beautiful village and had a little hike. After Gjöguf, we drove to Klaksvik and got on a ferry for Kalsoy Island, where the last James Bond movie was filmed, No Time to Die. Before setting off to Kalur Lighthouse for one of my favorite hikes, we stopped at the village of Mikladalur, where there are two legends about the seal woman and the stone someone picked up 300 years ago. After about 2 hours of hiking, we made it to the Kalur Lighthouse and had an amazing sunset there. We then took back the boat at 10:30 in the evening, which you do have to call for in advance. I'll leave the link in the description. On the third day, we visited the famous lake above the ocean, also known as Slave Cliff, because a few hundred years ago Vikings used to throw their slaves off the cliff when they were getting too old or too weak. Up next was the Mulafosur waterfall, which is right next to the Dranganir cliff, which is the reason why we visited this in the first place. We then went to see the Dranganir cliff by boat. There's also a hike which takes about 4 hours, but is illegal to do by yourself, so you would need a guide. We were lucky because the weather conditions permitted us going through the whole of the cliff, which was an unforgettable experience as well. In the morning of day 4, we went on another boat tour to see the Basmana sea cliffs. It was nice, but not the most impressive thing we had done there, so I would only recommend it if you have enough time. After the boat tour, we went to the Fossa waterfall, which is the only 2-story waterfall on the islands and was pretty impressive, especially from the drone's perspective. After a quick stop at the waterfall, we continued to Chornovik, where I wanted to do a hike to Milingur cliffs, but that didn't quite work out because I couldn't find them and it was getting dark, so I had to get back to the car. On the 5th day, we took a 2-hour ferry to the southernmost island, Suðuroy. That day we had the worst weather. We went on a hike to see a wooden bridge, but when we got there, we could barely see it due to the fog. After the failed attempt of viewing the bridge, we went 20 minutes south by car to see the only coal mines on the island. We then headed to the southernmost point of the Faroe Islands, where there is a small village with 3 houses, a lighthouse, and a ton of sheep. On the 6th day, we decided to rest a bit and just drove around the 2 main islands, exploring some spots, and I also went for a swim in the ocean. On our way back to the capital, Tórshavn, we did a little detour and stopped at a historic village with beautiful houses. On day 7, we hiked to the highest promontory in the world, Cape Enneberg. While hiking up, the weather was horrible, and I wasn't sure if we were going to see anything. But then it cleared up, and we had some amazing views of the ocean. On our last full day on the islands, we decided to go fishing. I had never been fishing, but it was such a fun experience, I would recommend it to anyone. On the following day, we woke up and got into the plane and left the islands. That was it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. All the links for the hikes and the boat tours are in the description below. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.